I'm going to call our meeting to order. If everybody stand, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, and afterwards I'm going to ask Alderman Probst to lead us in prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we do come to you tonight thanking you for another day and opportunity to serve you in our lives. I thank you for the opportunity that each one of us has each day to look to you for guidance and direction, knowing that you'll lead us, who will just trust in you. I pray that you take this business was discussed tonight and help us to look to you for that leadership there, and help us as people of our community to stand firm on what we believe and how we act, and to love the Lord Jesus Christ in our heart and in our minds. Give us your faith and your love and your mercy to go through each day. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, first thing we have is roll call.
Town of Vidalia Board of Aldermen roll call for the regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen dated April 8, 2025. Alderman Betts.
Present.
Alderman Gardner.
Here.
Alderman McCoy.
Present.
Alderman Probst.
Here.
Alderman Smith.
Here.
May I let the record show that a quorum of the board is present.
Thank you, sir. All right, first thing we have is to approve our minutes from our previous meeting. Is there any questions on the minutes? Any additions or deletions? If not noted, can I accept the motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing we have on our thing was Louisiana open meeting law requires for us to have public comments at the beginning of our meeting for the public to make any comments on our agenda items. They have to be related to agenda items. So at this time, does anybody have a question on anything on the agenda? You have? Okay. Yeah, please come to.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask a question or two. And I just wanted to speak on item number 11, your discussion on your ordinance concerning barnyard animals. I'm sure you're aware of the recent costs and increase in costs of groceries, specifically eggs. So I'm here to ask you to consider allowing some backyard chickens in the city limits. See, I sat in one of these chairs up here for 24 years, and during that time, there was always an ordinance on the book allowing backyard chickens. And we had some restrictions with it, of course, but I think that got changed. I'm hearing maybe in 2019 when you adopted a whole book of codes that it didn't address the backyard chickens. So as it stated years ago, you were allowed backyard chickens. There was a limit to how many you could have. There was a restriction. You could not have roosters. They make a little bit of noise, so they weren't allowed, and I'm okay with that. You couldn't do it commercially, and I think you couldn't even free range them. So I'm asking you consider amending your ordinance tonight, allowing some backyard chickens without roosters, and be able to, we could raise our own eggs and kind of offset some of this costs and groceries. Of course, fresh eggs, we all know, is healthier than store-bought eggs. Any questions?
We're going to get there. Item number 11 we're talking about.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to move on. First thing we have on our agenda is board discussion vote of approval on a resolution establishing rules of order for the mayor and board of aldermen meetings for the town of Vidalia. And I want to just speak a minute on this. Is one of the things that I do value is for us to have open debate, open dialogue on anything that we've got that's on our agenda. The agenda set, I do set the agenda, and we like to have open debate. And I believe that we should all be respectful to one another as we have these discussions. And I think that's going to be the only way we can ever have resolution and make people understand that we are working together for the betterment of our town. And I have confidence that each one of you as citizens and members of this meeting, that if we talk tonight, that we will be respectful one of the other, and no matter what it is. Now, in this resolution, there's also things establishing guidelines for citizens to be able to speak. I mean, it addresses a lot of things, a lot of issues. And one of the main important things is, we do have limitations on how long someone can speak if it's related to public comments. Usually that timeline is 3 minutes unless, I were to grant, more time. And I'm not against doing that. I would if someone hadn't been able to get their point across. But that, along with some of the other things that's in this resolution, it just calls for us to be able to have good, efficient meetings, which that's what the very top of it says. What it does is it lets us be more efficient in our meetings and get work done and business done in a very respectful manner with one another. I do like for people to, if they want to be recognized, raise their hand. That's just for, to be recognized, and you will have the floor and you can speak, or anybody can speak on anything that they want to. I've been very generous to let people, even after the public comment time, if we get into an agenda item later on that can benefit from more public comment, I have allowed it in the past, and I will continue to do that. But I do want open dialogue and open debate, and us to be able to talk to one another and respect one another and get our points across. Everybody's not going to agree with everything that I have done or have said, and that's okay. And that's certainly your opinion or your right to do so. Okay? So that's what this resolution is establishing, is rules of order for our council, for our citizens, and for myself even, to conduct these meetings in an orderly fashion and efficient manner. So that's what this is about. Now, if the board wants to bring up any discussion on it, this was recommended by the LMA. I did talk with them on it, and they did recommend that we should adopt this, because it is something that we need to address, and some of the things that we'll pick up, some things that our ordinance doesn't speak on, is limiting people's time to speak and things of that nature. So anyway, the council has right to talk all night if they want to, but as far as public comment from citizens, we are limited, but I have gone over those times as well. So that being said, I've had my say about the resolution. So any questions or comments on it, I'll be glad to.
I do.
Okay.
I know that it is standard that we follow the Robert's Rule of Order. I ask that all aldermen carefully consider the proposal before deciding to approve this resolution. I have several concerns and think certain parts need an actual Attorney General's opinion, which leads me to say this may need to be tabled for further clarification purposes. We want to make sure that we are not in violation of any citizen's First Amendment freedom of speech. We don't need to censor the public from bringing their concerns to the Board of Aldermen, especially if it's pertaining to the agenda item. In Article number 4, so I do have a few questions. I don't know how you want to kind of, do you want to go question per line item pertaining to answering my questions? But I broke it up for Article 4 first, and then I went into Article 5 questions. So it's for Article number 4, to say, could you please elaborate on, for Article number 4, presiding officer may terminate remarks. Per my visit on today with the LMA, who also did tell me that yes, due to some issues that have arisen, they did recommend that municipalities did come up with some kind of plan as far as the citizens, is what they told me. But some of this that I showed to them, they had questions pertaining to as well. I spoke with Hannah and Mr. Richard on today, who could not advise me, but stated it appears that more in-depth details needed to be written out. It was things they were confused on as well. Who will be the authority to say that a citizen is hostile and needs to be removed? What will be the process of removal? Example, mayor makes recommendation to the board, or if an alderman asks for mayor to restore order. Number 4, will an arrest or charges or anything like this be brought upon a citizen that's actually put out of the meeting? The presiding officer has the authority to restore order and may call a recess, remove disruptive citizen only with a board approval, but not elected official. And then Article number 5, well, I should have actually put that. in 5, but that's gonna be for article number 4. I wanna ask those questions first, and then I'll go to article 5.
Well, you asked a lot of questions there, but number one, as far as terminating remarks, I think we would use common sense on that. If somebody's threatening someone to go outside and do things, to me, that's disruptive and disorderly. I think we would certainly want to terminate that kind of discussion if anybody became involved enough where they're wanting to, get involved in physical violence. That's just a common sense thing. I think it says become disruptive, or something irrelevant. If somebody's going completely off topic, like we said earlier, we do have an agenda to follow, and that's to take care of the business of the town. That's what this is. That's what the council meetings are for, is to take care of the matters that are on the agenda that need to be decided upon. So I hope that, personal attacks, profanity, or threatening language toward elected officials, staff, or members of the public are prohibited. I think that's good language. Now, I think that should include the alderman, and I think it includes the mayor. If I'm making personal attacks, profanity, and threatening language, I think that, I should, check myself, which I would. And I think I've always handled myself in a respectful manner. There has been times people's crossed lines with me, and I probably got back the other way as well. And I probably have. And I apologize for that. And I apologize for the people if I have done that in the past. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It says speakers must maintain order and decorum at all times. I'm trying to see where there would be a problem with any of these things in article number 4. And it says no person shall engage in conduct that disturbs, disrupts, or impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. And I think that's self-explanatory. I don't see there's a problem in any of that. I mean, if you're reading something more into that than what's there, I don't know what to tell you, but I think all these things here are pretty well, encouraging public participation. We want you to be, we want to hear what you have to say. However, if there's things that somebody want to talk about that's not on the agenda, they want to talk about the color of the fire truck, that's something we can discuss in an office rather than taking up the people's time and the people council's time to debate these things that should be handled in an office that we could handle and discuss. And if it's something that looks like we need council, a decision on, then I'll put it on the agenda and we'll discuss it. So that's basically, I hope I answered your questions. If you want to go to Article 5, I'll be welcome to do that.
Okay. Pertaining to article number 5, it says, after looking at article number 5, I kind of sort of think that it needs to be more research done. Our elected officials should have a code of conduct that we follow anyway. My apologies. I thought I turned my phone off. It appears that the aldermen are being silenced. Some municipalities have a place where the alderman gives a report pertaining to their district. This would allow the public to know what's going on and whether there are accomplishments in their district. We should potentially consider that as well. Presiding officers should not be allowed to have authority to remove an official from a meeting unless the environment becomes hostile. If your environment does become hostile, approval will need to come from a board and not presiding officer, him or herself. Definition of hostile needs to be written out. Just because people don't agree does not give the authority to throw an elected official out of a meeting. Number 4, please define your view of side conversation. It stated something about cannot have side conversation. Number 5, our remarks shall be addressed to the mayor and board and shall be respectful.
You're reading out of Article 5?
Yes.
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about side.
Okay.
All right, you're reading Article 5.
Article 4.
Number
Maybe
4.
I jumped. I could have possibly jumped.
No, it's in Article 5.
Huh?
Okay, well, they say yes.
Okay. Well,
Members and participants must avoid disruptive behavior such as shouting and interrupting or engaging in side conversations. That's exactly what it says.
now Article 5 is,
That's in, and it's
Article B is 5.
Yes.
right up underneath.
Mine says
the-
all remarks shall be addressed to the mayor and board and shall be respectful in tone and substance. What mine says, Article 5.
In
So
Article
this is a
5,
different one. Hold on.
in Article 5, that's what it says?
That's what mine says. That's why I'm.
Our remarks shall be addressed.
Looking at the.
Yeah,
Article
right
five.
here, number 4 on Article 5, right here.
Number 4.
Okay, what does yours say, John?
All remarks shall be addressed to the mayor and board.
And what does yours say? Robert?
Our remarks shall be addressed to the mayor and the board and shall be respectful.
That's
In a
not what you,
top-
that's not what you read a while ago,
Oh.
but anyway.
Respectful.
No, we're reading under 5, 5, underneath it, members.
Okay, so
It's 5.
my apologies.
Yeah,
5.A, 5.B.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me finish my
Okay.
question so I don't get out
Okay.
of train of thought. Our remarks shall be addressed to the mayor and the board and shall be respectful in the tone of substance. Please clarify respectful in tone, because I know that everybody's tone is not the same. And some tones may be different than others, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're being hostile or something of that nature. So after talking to the attorney generals, my thoughts, my process is, we should do further research, making sure that, everything is what it absolutely should be, and it doesn't go against anything that the state already has in place. Some of this stuff we're already doing anyhow. So,
Okay, anybody else?
Okay, I just wondered, where did this come from as far as the actual letter or the actual?
This came, also what it is, Tommy, I want to give, Jay and Pi did research this. There were some court cases, and what they looked up was, there's language in here that allows us to give people the freedom of speech and don't violate their freedom of speech unless they get out of line and are disrespectful. What is disrespectful? We know disrespect when we see it. Not letting someone speak, not letting that someone complete their thought or whatever. So we know what that looks like. We do. But this came from, and this will, if somebody were to get disrespectful and get out of line, they can be warned and say, please, tone it down. Don't cuss an alderman, don't cuss me, don't cuss a citizen. Keep your language, where it should be. Be respectful of one another, because that's the only way that we can get anything done. If we get disrespectful, I think everybody loses their train of thought. They lose their train of thinking, and we don't have any kind of resolution. We don't come to any kind of agreements. So good, respectful dialogue is the only way. That's what we should be. This should be what we live in now, is that. And I think that's pretty easy, to understand. And so,
That was part of my question. Question 2 is, why is this all of a sudden coming up? I've been here for 8 years. Yeah, I can get fired up. I promise you I can get fired up. And I want to know to what point is fired up enough to, I've told y'all to put me in handcuffs and take me out of here because I'm not going to shut up. Now, that's pretty much a fact.
Yeah.
And I've said that more than once.
Yeah.
So, but again,
I said, I think that would qualify.
well, hey, but I'm going to speak my piece and I'm going to say what I need to say. And that's the point I'm making. And I don't know. I just don't understand why this all of a sudden came up. What made this happen? We've been handling these meetings. I've got sneered at, I've got hissed at, I've got whatever you want to call it out of that group out there for a lot of different things that I stood
And
for.
if people do that, I should be able to go and say, that's out of line, and you're out of order, and please,
But
please
again,
refrain from doing that.
and I'm not worried about it. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to take care of business,
I understand.
and that's for whoever's out there or whoever's up here. So, I don't know. I just don't understand why this came up all of a sudden and where it came from and what was the purpose. We've been handling meetings for 8 years. I've been here.
Well,
There's times when, yeah, it gets heated. That man right over there, that's what he's for, isn't it?
he's got to be given orders to do.
That's what I'm
do the
saying.
job, So
But he's here to do it.
Yeah.
So
that's correct.
he's here to do
And
it.
you're right. The authority's there to do that already. What we're doing, this is going to just complete the whole, keeping the order of the meeting on task, on target, and move the meeting along. That's what these minutes are, establishing timeframes where people could talk and to just how they conduct themselves in the meeting. Again,
But again, I know this,
and if
you
get
run the
strict-
meetings and that's where you control the meeting, 3 minutes is 3 minutes, you done.
Unless I
You
get
know?
more time.
And
I got time.
But we say 3 minutes, if that's what you say, 3 minutes, it's 3 minutes, done. And that's where a timekeeper comes in or whoever. But I can't vote for this.
Okay. And this, we'll put it up for,
You got a question, but I know they walked in at a later.
well, we still got Alderman up here if they want to respond to it, or if one of them wants to make a motion to approve this and it dies for a second and don't get voted on, well, that's,
So let Mayor Kraft and the board, all the aldermen, I want to add my 15 cents to it. So we have Robert's Rules of Order that have been in place forever. We also deal with Louisiana's meeting laws. So there's rules to who conducts what. You are a presenter of these things that are on the agenda. We hear what you say, and based on our knowledge of or lack of knowledge, we debate it, and you may ask for a motion if it's been debated enough. I think that every adult that has an opportunity to speak, I know when I may go too far, and I think everybody else may have that same little feeling when you may be out there on the limb. I want those people who are citizens. Those are citizens, and we want to respect them. They voted for me in one of the largest and diverse districts to not embarrass them with something that may be a personal opinion of mine. They want me to stay on fact. They want me to deal with the issue that we have. And wherever we don't agree, they expect me to be able to find safe ground that we can all navigate through. Now, this resolution, the resolution's been there ever since you've been mayor. Maybe not in this form, but the fact of the matter on how things should be handled with this board, with the citizens, and these councilmen who have been, I'm not the only one, these people have been elected by people in their district. And all of us say that we're not just a councilman in our district, that we are councilmen, we are aldermen for the city of Vidalia. And I don't want their passion mistaken as being argumentative. And there's a little point in there where, you can tell when somebody going a bit too far. Well, sometimes that's passion. And I don't want the letter of the law to handcuff. Like, just Tommy came right out and said, there's some things that he gonna get on up about. And if it's personal to him, he gonna say what he gonna say, and don't care whether he gets put out of a meeting. He said what he said. Pretty much, if you go down the line, you'll probably find the same thought. If I got something to say, I'm pretty much gonna get it out. With respect to everybody in this room. I got people in my district that come to these meetings and they expect for me to conduct myself in a certain way. Mm-hmm. Anything other than that is unacceptable. So we got the rule. that's always been there. You've taken it and put it on paper. As a group, it's up to us to accept this resolution as is. It's not anything, I don't think it's anything new. I think it's just written on how we should conduct ourselves in an open meeting. I see some of my people here from Mississippi have been knowing me forever. They speak. They think that I need to know how to act right when it's time to act right. So we're at a point where we need to move on this. And I so move that the resolution that's been put forward, that's already in place in theory, that it be accepted as written. And if, that's my motion. I move that this resolution be accepted as written, and we can roll the dice.
Okay.
Everybody that ain't for it, I get it.
We have to have a second.
I second the motion, but I'd like to say this too.
Okay.
I believe in,
Let the record reflect a second. Go ahead.
I believe that everyone has the right to discuss and to have their opinion and to do this. But I also believe that it is to be done most professionally. It is supposed to be done in an orderly fashion. It is not to be done in trying to overshout someone to get their point apart. I don't care who you are. If we take that approach to it, then I think that we failed personally as being public servants. I do believe that we as public servants should hear from our constituents. I believe that we should be a voice for our constituents, but I also believe that we have to do what is best for everyone that is in among this body and among this our town. And the reason for this is because it seems like every time that we have one, it gets a little worse, and it gets a little worse, and it gets a little worse. And so that is the reason why I am supporting this resolution. So then everybody knows we've had the rules of order, as you're saying, because personally, if I had been mayor, I would have already done that because of disrespect that I felt was coming there. That's my personal thing that it is there. That is the right of this mayor to do that. But the reason for this is for everyone now to be put on notice that we're going to do it. And so hopefully this is a moot thing. Nothing ever happens like this again. Everything is done in orderly fashion. Everybody presents their things properly, and then we make a decision that is the best for everybody in this town.
Mayor Kraft, I have a motion and a
Well, I
second.
wanted to say, I agree with both these guys, and that's why I'm sitting here thinking the whole time was, this isn't a drama presentation up here trying to outdo each other. And if we need something, this doesn't offend me at all, because that's the way you're supposed to act, not just here, but outside the doors or anywhere.
Right.
So, if it's written on paper, that doesn't offend me at all. And I'm probably pretty sure other towns have something similar. But no, I don't get upset if we need something to remind us how we're supposed to act.
All right. Everybody's had their say. Motion's on the floor in a second. We can do a roll call vote.
Motion offered by Alderman McCoy to accept the resolution as written, second by Alderman Betts. Alderman Betts,
Yes.
Alderman Gardner,
No.
Alderman McCoy,
Yes.
Alderman Probst,
No.
Alderman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor.
Okay. All right, next thing we have is
Well,
present.
Mayor, before we move on, can we have council give this a second eye and make sure that we're on pace? We're doing the
All of what reviewed, I think it's well written. I think in regards to public participation, I think limiting to 3 minutes, I think that needs to be codified, which I'll codify 3 minutes public comment. In regards to the public, the personal attack, profanity, and threatening language, that's all criminal in nature anyway. So basically, if somebody acted out on the public during that 3 minute period of time, if they're threatening somebody or they're using profanity, that's a violation of disturbing the peace. And that would be a citation or criminal act. The rules of debate just apply to all of them are different from that, and that those same rules do not apply. It doesn't talk about profanity and threatening language. It just talks about disrupting each other or overspeaking each other when you are having a debate, and that's just lawyers have no professional conduct where you should. But I look good. I think it just codifies everything that's already in the case. But that open meetings law in Louisiana is construed liberally, which means it sides in the fact that the public needs to have a voice. And this just codifies and gives the public that voice. Now, it's got to be on the agenda items, and it's limited for that period of time, and they've got to be, he or she needs not to threaten or commit a crime. Well, I think it's fine.
Okay.
It's just kind of restating what we all should respect on that.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. All right,
Yes, sir.
let's move on. Next thing we got is our presentation of the financial statements for February 2025 by Deborah Moak, our CPA and Chief Financial Officer. Ms. Deborah.
Tonight's financial statements include the balance sheet as of February the 28th, 2025, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the 8 months ending February 28, 2025. These financial statements have been distributed to all department heads and aldermen for their review. In summary, the town has combined cash in the bank of $3.6 million, investments of $30.7 million, total assets of $68.9 million, total liabilities of $12.3 million, for a combined fund balance of $56.6 million. The statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance for the 8 months ending February 28, 2025 indicates combined revenues of $31.3 million, total expenditures of $29 million, for a change in net position of a positive $2.3 million. Currently, the town has a combined total of $21.9 million invested in Louisiana Asset Management, earning 4.4% interest. All of these funds are hydro funds restricted for projects except for $1.7 million of general funds. Approximately $6.5 million is invested at Delta Bank and is restricted hydro funds. Total revenue is at 64% of budget, which is slightly under budget, while total personnel cost is at 66% of budget. Materials and supplies is at 66% of budget, which are right on target. And other services and charges are at 71% of budget, which is higher than budget, and due to the hydro projects costs that we've incurred that are not included in the budget. The nets at the ball fields have all been installed and paid for from hydro funds. The water plant is being constructed and funded primarily from the state, and grain storage tanks are currently being constructed at the port, in addition to roadway improvements made in town. We have started the budget process for 25-26 fiscal year. The projected budget should be available at the regularly scheduled meeting in May.
Okay, anybody got any questions, Ms. Moak? If not, we'll move on. Thank you, Deborah. Next thing we have is number 3, agenda number 3 is board discussion vote on approval of occupational license. The first one is Lloyd's Auto Care and Glass. Mr. Benny Lloyd. Is Benny here tonight? Is that Benny? Benny, you want to tell us a little bit about what all you're going to be doing up there so the people know?
First of all, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Lloyd's Auto Sales and Glass. First of all, we're going to be serving the public with perfect service. We're going to do car washing, auto glass, small repairs, basically.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate you starting a business here in Vidalia. I think are you at the old BJ's car
sir.
wash? Is that where you're gonna be at?
Yes.
Okay. All right, anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I think the address was wrong in the,
It's showing 1402 Carter.
Yes.
Is that right?
1402.
it is
Carter.
1402?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
Okay. I'd also like to, Mayor, is it okay?
Yeah.
I'd also like to commend Bennett for coming tonight, because that used to be the standard, that you would have to come and tell us about your business. And what has happened in the past, we look at what your business is and you sign application and we approve it. And we really appreciate you showing up. At least I do. I'm gonna speak for me right here. I really appreciate the fact that you did show up at this meeting and willing to wash my truck.
We knew
Exactly.
that was good.
Yes.
I'm just working it a little bit now. But thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you
so
so-
I make that motion. that we
Motion made by
approve.
Alderman Gardner to approve. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Alderman McCoy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Again, thank y'all again. Appreciate
All
it
right,
very much.
thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have is Donovan's LLC, Mr. Shannon Steele.
Shannon, see, Dr. Shannon, see.
Okay, I don't see Doctor. If it's Doctor, I apologize. Doctor, is he, are they here tonight? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good
My name
evening.
is Shannon Seals. I was born and raised here in Vidalia. This is my way of giving back. It's Donovan's. It's my brother's namesake. He played here in Vidalia on the basketball team, and he passed away. Unfortunately,
Seals.
7 years. Yeah, you guys used to go to school together. So this is my way of putting him back in Vidalia and also giving him back to my hometown. Not only is it going to be a banquet hall for people to rent, and I believe that I put my heart and soul into renovating this building so you won't recognize it from before, but also I want to use it as a way to give back to the community and possibly have some events for kids and for the elderly in the community. Just some, just have events there that me and my team will put on throughout the year.
Great idea.
Yeah, that is good. Ms. Seals, where's your business at?
It's the old
Ranch
ranch
house.
house.
The old ranch house? Okay.
Mhm. So it used to be the big red building, now it's the big green building.
Okay, good deal. All right.
In
Any more-
District
We
1.
thank you again. Thank you for investing in Vidalia, and hopefully the Vidalia be good to you as well. So
All right,
anyway,
I make that motion that we approve Dr. Shannon Seals, by the way.
thank you.
And I second it.
second, motion by Alderman Garner, second by Alderman McCoy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next thing we have is board discussion, vote on approval of sign applications. First one, well, that's the only one we got is Lloyd's on the table. You see a sign back there? Any questions on the sign? Here, motion to approve.
I make that motion.
Motion made by Alderman Gardner, here, second. Second by Alderman Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, you're ready to go. You can hang your shingle out there and go to work. All right, number 5, we have board discussion, vote on approval of the mayor's appointment of the Blighted Court Hearing Officer. Everybody knows that our previous Blighted Court Hearing Officer was Miss Hugh Cheryl Walker, and she did an outstanding job handling blighted cases. And we are starting that back up. And tonight I'm recommending that our new hearing officer be Mr. Joey Booth. And I've talked with Joe. I think he's a Vidalia resident, lives in the city limits. And I think he'll be a good person to run this and get our blighted property initiative going again. And the alderman have been good enough to put some money into it. So we're going to get busy as soon as we can. But this is our first step to get this going again. So again, Hugh Cheryl Walker and Piera worked hard together. And how many blighted properties did we? It was
27, I think.
20, close to 30. So we have a lot more to do, and we're going to get busy with it. So is there any questions or discussion on Mr. Joey Booth?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Alderman Smith. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next thing we have is presentation of plans for a possible motorcycle rally in the town of Vidalia. Mr. Demetrius Schnell.
Yes, sir.
Demetrius, come on up. Tell us about
Good morning to the town of Vidalia.
it. Good morning and good evening.
See, I mixed up, I've been flying all
That's
day,
all right.
so
That's okay.
excuse me. Just a little bit about me. My name is Demetrius Snell. I'm originally from Natchez, Mississippi.
Started visiting here frequent, and as I come, I see not a whole lot going on. I live in North Carolina now, and I was here for a bank rally last year, which was in Natchez, Mississippi. And I want to do something here in Vidalia because I just feel like this is the place for it. You know, people ask why Vidalia. I ask why not, because I see the amphitheater there. I'm here often. I see it's not being used as much as it should. I do know that motorcycles bring crowds. I do know that the motorcycles will help with revenue. When you're blocking off hotels, you are having people to go to eat at certain eateries. You're talking Walmarts. You're talking bringing money here, and not just bringing money, but bringing people together. So and just to let you guys know that we're serious. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that's in the committee already, and we haven't even been approved to have it. So this is just to let you guys know that we're serious about what we're doing. And to let you know that we're serious, I'm coming all the way from North Carolina to attend a meeting, to ask you guys if you could help us with it. So that's my proposal. Ms. Cassandra Lynch, she's going to be with us, and if you want to get up and say something, please, man, help me out about what we're trying to do.
Well, hello, my mayor and the aldermen and all the citizens of the day. He called one day to the clerk of court's office looking for information about Vidalia, and I just happened to answer the phone. The president of the beautification committee, and gave dear to my heart. And when he said what he wanted, I mentioned the aldermen. I mentioned Alderman Trum McCoy because it's in his district as a go-to person. And we have in March, we have the car show. In June, we have the Juneteenth celebration. And then we have a gap until we get to the holiday season. So I told him it'd be great if he came during the fall and then the motorcycle rally that would involve the Miss Lou area. Don't just say Vidalia, it's about everybody. And he decided to fly down. And we want to do it next year. We want it next year because we know that if we're going to bring something to Vidalia, we want it to be on point. We're going to ask for your suggestions and your support. And we just wanted to make it a fun thing for the Mixed-Use area. We have a whole year to plan it. We'll always be sharing our ideas. We welcome the support of everybody in the area, including the newspaper. So that's what we want to do, bring something that everyone can enjoy. And we're going to see you next year at the motorcycle. What's the date?
And there will be a Facebook page so everybody can see exactly.
You got 3 minutes.
I still got 1 minute left. I only talked for 2.
I talked 1.
Okay.
Mr. Snell, I would just encourage y'all, if you have a committee working on that,
Yes, sir.
you would, I'll be glad to give you my number and contact information after this. Just stay in touch with us. We get with Regina because Regina's in control of our convention center and our riverfront and our amphitheater.
Okay.
And we would, see what you have in mind when you say you want our support. Of course, we would probably support that, but what do you mean? Do you mean in time? Do you mean in monies? What do you mean? I mean, so as y'all get more organization to yourselves, have y'all already formed any kind of official?
Well, we just wanted to know that it would be approved. We will have, people that would want us to come. And now that we see or hear, that it could be a go, we're going to start.
Well, good. I'm encouraging to do that. But as y'all have your meetings, I assume all the committees local? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, then I encourage everybody to, have your meetings. Are you official? Are you a nonprofit? Or are you,
Nonprofit, yes.
Okay.
Nonprofit, yes, yes.
And, just anything that we do, we have to get that information if somebody's going to use the, riverfront at all.
Okay.
But no, we're excited about it. We love any kind of thing coming in. So I would encourage you to stay on top of it, and we would certainly get involved and let you know what we can do, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
for your
you.
time. Thank you. Okay, next thing we have was board discussion and vote on approval of a resolution regarding a lease purchase agreement for the purpose of financing a bucket truck for the town of Vidalia Utility Department. Any questions on that? You'll see in there the financing arrangements with that. So can there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Best, here a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Alderman Smith. Was that Alderman Smith? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next thing we have is board discussion and vote to enter to an intergovernmental agreement between the town of Vidalia and the Vidalia City Court regarding the reimbursement of expenses paid by the town for the operation of the court. You'll see the agreement that was hammered out between the city court and the town. As you know, we brought that to you before, and there were some modifications we needed to do. And us working with council and Hugh Sherrill, our city judge, Hugh Sherrill Walker, this is the agreement we've all come to, and I would like to get the town to approve this. If any discussion, if not, I entertain a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Motion made by Alderman Probst. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Hey, wait a minute there. So you presented it, you got the motion.
Mhm.
We're not gonna have a discussion.
Well, that's what I was asking. Anybody got any? We can have a discussion on it, yeah.
Okay.
Motion's on the floor in a second, so we can discuss.
Council, is our job tonight to say yes, pending whatever necessary corrections need to be done with this? Or,
You can do it. I'm sorry.
or a yay or nay would stop it or start it either way?
I think if you do it one or two ways, I think you could, a situation you just allow the mayor the ability to enter into the agreement. There's maybe some small details between council court, the judge, which is Jerry Carson, and our, there may be some small issues that arise, or just prove it as is, with the ability for the mayor to make any small changes in these things. But it also have to be signed off the way it's written by the mayor and by the judge.
I think we've already given the mayor the autonomy to enter into agreements like this without us. There's a motion to accept it. There's a second. How can I modify my motion to say that not only will
Make
I,
an amendment to the motion that's already been made.
so fix
But
that.
to kind of, to clarify, Mr. McCoy, I was in the meeting and I'm the one that typed up or drafted this. And I think it is a complete meeting of the minds between the mayor and Judge Walker. And there may be some small details Mr. Carson and I have to hammer out, but I think the general concepts are accurate in regards to what the mayor and the judge agreed to.
Okay. I would feel a lot better if I saw signatures on this.
Well, I think we had to get it approved by the council prior to the mayor having the ability to enter into the agreement.
Has it, okay, question. Has it changed? Did it change a lot over the past agreement?
No, sir. We just made some clarifications about the dates when the fiscal years are.
Right.
When the payments were due, to define that, because whether or not it's a fiscal year versus a calendar year.
Right.
We had a robust discussion about that.
Right.
Okay. I still want to say that I want to go along with the motion, but with whatever necessary changes that need to happen to this document on both parts, let that be the standing rule on this document.
Have the mayor and the judge have that ability.
That's correct.
I guess you're giving the mayor authority, not the judge.
The mayor has the authority. We've done this before, where he has the authority and the autonomy to enter into, he can sign off on these things.
Yes, sir.
But let's make sure that everybody is satisfied with what we're doing. And I trust that this is a good effort in putting it together, but I want everybody to be satisfied. You got a sitting judge, Judge Walker, you got a sitting mayor, and you got thousands of dollars worth of things that we need to do. So I don't think it's too much with me asking that my motion be, however you got to fix it on paper, that my motion is, I move that we accept this document with whatever fixing needs to be done to it to satisfy all parties involved.
I think that could be amended.
You'll have to make an amendment.
I made the motion.
Yeah, but they're wanting to amend the motion.
I understand
All right.
that.
You can vote against it if you want to.
Okay, my question to you, have you in good faith been negotiating this deal?
You
Yes.
talking to me?
No, I'm talking to the mayor.
Yes, we have.
Right.
I think all parties have.
I understand where Alderman McCoy is coming from. I'll go with that. I'll rescind the motion that passed motion and open the floor for him to redo the motion or whatever we have to do to make it.
Your motion can stay. He's just wanting to
Okay,
amend the motion.
you want to
And then
amend it.
And like, for
I
example,
agree.
if y'all didn't want to amend it, y'all could turn down, you could vote the amendment down. And then
No,
you vote
I'm
on your
good for the,
original motion.
I'm good for the amendment. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so he's made the motion. Did somebody second the motion?
I did.
Alderman Betts seconded.
I'm
Any
good.
any more discussion? Okay,
I mean, so
we're gonna vote on on the amendment, then we're gonna vote on the motion for the agreement. That's simple enough?
So the negotiation was between the two parties.
Yes,
You and
that's
and
correct.
y'all agreed. And
Right.
So
Okay, so we're voting on the amendment to the motion to say that we can further tweak the dates on it or whatever we need to do, which council has said it's immaterial to the agreement. Basically, just some dates might be needed to be changed.
Correct.
So
That's my
anyway,
discussion with Mr.
Right.
Carson today.
so anyway, we're going to vote on the amendment for that I can negotiate that. Motion made, seconds made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're going back to the amendment of you to accept the agreement as written with the amendment added to it.
I do.
Okay. All right, that was on the floor. And the second was already done by Alderman. Yes. Any more discussion?
Can we get a roll call on that?
Sure.
So we're voting on the amendment.
We already voted on the
I
amendment.
voted on the amendment.
Amendment's
So this- but
approved.
you're
We're
doing
voting
a
on
roll
the,
call
we're
on
inviting,
the amendment?
yeah.
It's a roll.
This is a
We've already
motion.
approved the amendment. Well, now we're approving the agreement with the amendment on it.
Okay, so the roll call is on the amendment to the original motion.
No, it's on the original motion that's been altered with the amendment being approved to it. Now the amendment's a part of the agreement.
They're approving the motion with the amendment. It's kind of repetitive, but the same.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Alderman Betts.
Yes.
Alderman Gordon.
Yes.
Alderman McCoy.
Yes.
Alderman Probst.
Yes.
Alderman Smith.
yes.
All right.
All right. Next thing we got is board discussion vote to approve the bids for phase 2 of the tree cutting project. Do we have the bids? Uh-oh.
I do want to make a comment on these bids for the tree cutting. And I hope this is in place. There is going to be stipulation on time this time, correct?
Correct.
Last time was not a good situation. I was confronted on the street by an individual who bid that job. And he was very, okay, I understand, but maybe next time. He was number 2 bidder too. And can I ask Cornell, how far past the deadline did that accomplishment of the tree cutting go?
It's over 6 months, I can tell you. It was over 6 months, and it's supposed to be 60 days.
6 months, and it was 60 days. Now, that's hard to get a man out on the street that confronts me whenever that happens. So this time, please, without any problem, if that person can't fulfill that contract, he better go find him a skid steer. He better go find him or whatever he needs to get that done in that time frame, because that's not a nice feeling. And he probably could have took us to the cleaners. But I'm just openly telling you, he was a good guy, and very nice guy. And I just want to be sure we do it that way this time. And from what we've heard from the mayor and from you, it is. So we're good with that, right? Right. Okay.
All right. We're going to start on these. There's 3 bids that have been submitted. The first one is from Cousins Tree Service. The bid is for the problem tree project, and its totals about 75 trees. And the total bid, oh my goodness, it's not a bad bid. Its total bid is $82,100. Cousins Tree Service. And of course, the town will verify that all these people got their insurances and everything they're supposed to have to conduct the work, certifications, permits, whatever. The next one is from Ford's Tree Service. My goodness. Total bid, $47,000. How many trees did we remove last time? Corey, how many trees did we remove in that last bid? 18 trees. It cost us what, 80,000?
But they were comparing to last time, size wise, although we got some massive trees last time.
Yeah.
Are they as big or?
It's hard to compare apples to apples
Yeah.
when you got these trees. All right, let me open this third bid, then I'll let you. Let me open this third bid so we can get this all out there. All right. This is from C&M Earthworks, 210,000. So as it stands, Ford Tree Services got the bid subject to getting all their permits and things in place. And honestly, that's very reasonable. Go ahead, Cornell.
But, subject, to those stipulations and going back and make sure he's identified what tree that we're talking about on this list. Because, I'm very surprised at that price. So, but anyway, the difference between the last time and this time, the trees, in that phase 1 was in some very difficult areas and positions. So that's the difference between the prices. With these, it's kind of accessible and everything. It won't be really no disruptions with the citizens, in the areas. So, of course, I know we got 75 trees. I'm sure it's gonna be more, that need to be taken down. But we got to start, with this. So, everybody just be patient. We're gonna take care of the rest of them.
Can are those, some of those including those pines that are dangerous? Is that, which is a whole lot easier than a big massive oak that's sitting over somebody's house,
Yes.
So, but that is going to eliminate a lot of those dangerous pines.
Correct.
That's why you got so many of them, correct?
Correct.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Cornell. All right, the next thing we have is board discussion vote on disposition of the surplus recyclable bins. Y'all know we've got those blue trash.
You got a motion. Need a
Oh,
motion.
you need to approve the bids? Okay, I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself. Is there any questions on this? Y'all want to accept the low bid? Do I hear a motion that we accept the low bid?
I'll make it.
Motion made by Alderman Betts, second by Alderman Probst. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to board discussion vote on disposition of surplus recyclable bins. Now, y'all seen the blue trash cans that used to be, but it was in the recycling program. The recycling program died because the people who were handling that were started losing money rather than it being a benefit for them. And so we basically had to discontinue that. There was a grant that actually bought those bins, and they've been set up over at our city barn for years now, probably since 2016. I think I hadn't been in office long when the people we were taking the recyclable bins, trash cans to, the waste from them, said we're not taking it anymore. So we had no other option for it. So we collected all the cans, and they've been stacked up ever since. So is there a question that can we legally do something with them? You know, that's we might have to find that out. But in the meantime, Alderman Betts had asked me to let's at least talk about it and start doing something with them rather than just have them stacked up and not being there. You want to set a price on them and sell them? I don't know. That's going to be up to the board's pleasure. I can go either way. We can leave them where they're at, or we can, want to put a price on them and try to sell them to citizens first.
And my whole thing was, I hate to see them just sitting there doing nothing. And if we could sell them to our citizens, I would like to see us sell them to citizens if it's okay for us to dispose of the properties that way. But I just hate to see them sitting out there in the weeds side the road, and they could be used for something. I think we utilize some down on the riverfront, but there's a bunch of them out there. And I told the mayor that I would buy a couple of them. I like the idea that Town of Vidalia is on them. And because Town of Vidalia picked my trash up.
They have numbers too on them, so if somebody took them,
Yeah, you can do it. So I would like to see us do something with it.
How many total do you think there?
Oh, Lord, I don't know.
Randy, how many total?
Randy's not going to know. I have to find it. I'll call you tomorrow and get.
Get an idea. I mean,
I
I agree with John on that.
It's
They're
gotta
not
be-
doing anything.
gotta be 100
Do
or
something,
200.
find out what we can do with them.
Got to be 100 or 200 out there for sure. So, but then again, I'll come back with y'all on that and also try to come up with what a price of a price. We might have to put those things out for bid.
Right.
We have one person buy them all. Let us explore those things. Is that okay, John?
Sure.
I mean, we might have to sell them all as a group, or I don't know if we can just sell them individually. I just don't know. Let us research that a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on that from either of the council? All right, next thing we have is board discussion on ordinance number 687, Article 4, Division 2, Animals of a Barnyard Nature, Section 694, and Muni Code, Chapter 40, Article 5, Development Standards, Section 40-208. Okay, we've actually had, with Frankie's here. Is Frankie still here? There he is. Frankie is our code enforcement, does an outstanding job. And one of the things that we're running into is we are having some citizens not understand. I guess let's talk about the fences first. Let's get that out of the way. People will start building a fence, and it might be a new fence, and there are ordinance in place that signifies how you can construct that fence and which way it's got to point, the finished side, the unfinished side. It's got to be, where that can be. And people are just doing what they want to, and it's actually becoming a problem. It's a part of the ordinance. Frankie's trying to do his job, but I need to make sure the aldermen are on board that if we're going to enforce this, if it's on the books, if they don't care which way the fence is turned, one way or another, as a board, let's just, abolish the ordinance and forget about it. Or let's do it. And if they're out in public, any of their constituents ask them about it, well, you got to follow the rule, or you have to take your fence up. That's a part of the law that we do it. So let's talk about the fence first. And that's one of the issues we're having is with the fences. A lot of people putting fences up and they're not to code. So any questions or comments from the council on what they would like to see us do? You want to abolish the ordinance and let people put up the fences tall, turned any way they want to?
I guess I have a question, because I had a similar situation that arose in my district pertaining to the fence. And I think something stated or said, the good part has to be turned to the neighbor and the dog part has to be turned to the owner. Am I correct?
Well, the finished side, the finished boards have to be on the outside. Unfinished boards have to be toward whoever's building the fence.
And I think that was some of the issues that arise in my district pertaining to complaints being made. Because I guess the owners wanted it turned the opposite way or something. So, I mean, whatever y'all think.
So if they want to have it finished on both sides, they just got to double board it. That's all there is to it. That's just my opinion. I mean, let's leave the ordinance as is. And I know where one's right now is, it's brand new fence. It's facing outside towards the neighbor, but again, it got by somehow. But if it's permitted and it's watched, it shouldn't happen. You know, if it's not permitted, then hey, it's just like building a house on somebody's property and you
come on up,
coming over the top. Then you got to tear that down. You got to redo it.
The problem that we have, Mr. Probst, they're not getting permits.
Okay.
So therefore, they're catching it on the weekend.
Okay.
And I'll come back Monday morning, fence is up. I'll go confront them. Well, I'm not changing
Okay. What you
I mean,
think
if
about that?
I can understand the homeowner. If I'm gonna put up a $10,000 fence,
Right.
I want the finished side looking at me.
Right.
But that ain't the way the ordinance reads.
No.
The ordinance says the finished side's got to be towards your neighbor.
Right.
You got to look at the two.
Right.
But here's the problem. Like I said, it's slipping in on the weekends without a permit.
What if they built a house and it was hanging over like happened on Lee Street? Remember that? Yeah, okay. What'd they have to do?
They had to take it down.
Uh-huh. That's what they got to
So
do if
that's
they
what
do
the-
that
that's
too.
what the
And that's
citizens
just the
gotta
way the
understand.
rules read. I mean, you
Correct.
can't, ignorance, is the way it is, Can't be ignorant. You can't go there and say, okay, I didn't get a permit, so I can just build it any way I want to.
Well, that's the
No, and that
problem.
rooster can crow in the
That's
back of
problem
that.
We have.
Yeah, no.
That's what, I'm glad the mayor brought this to y'all's attention
No.
so we can settle this tonight.
Mhm.
So
I mean,
can do my
it's
job.
what the law, it's the way it reads.
It's the way it's written, but sometimes it ain't being enforced
Ms.
the
Lee?
way it needs to be.
Piggyback on that, I'm the chairperson for planning and zoning. And it states, you have to have a permit.
Correct.
The neighbor gets the pretty side. The person who's putting the fence up get the poles and
They get the bracing side.
Let's don't
But
call
you-
it Douglas side. Let's just say.
But
the
you can make it
unfinished
look
side.
pretty if you double fence it. I mean, all you gotta do is put your board down the other side and it looks real good.
The ordinance is written, you gotta have a permit.
That's right.
The
And the reason for that is because of the locate.
Right.
Cornell and them to come out, locate
Exactly.
gas line, water line, make sure we're not building a fence on top of a main gas.
And most of those fences are built on a kind of a right of way. You know that? It is.
Yeah.
That's amazing
Supposed to be
how,
1 foot off the property line.
you know what?
So that's another reason for the permit.
I say leave the ordinance alone, enforce it, however we gotta enforce it.
I just,
Maybe if we need this, maybe do need to make an ordinance. We may, if you don't have a permit, you're gonna get a fine of $500. Now, that might help. What you think about that?
I got plenty of some.
Huh?
I got a
I
bunch of
know,
some.
but there again, hey, that's an option. Make an ordinance that says if you don't
The
have
permit
your
for the
permit.
fence is $100. I agree. If you don't get a permit, fine with $500.
I know how many people you done shut down because I get a call. I say, I can't do nothing
We
about
Get
that.
calls to-
we do need support from the alderman though. If they know the law
I say,
and
I
everyone
can't do
wrote
anything
it, you
about
need to
that.
support
He's enforcing
Frankie.
what it says in the ordinance.
You need to support Frankie. If you get a call as an alderman, you know the law. You need to support Frankie to do his job and tell him, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. That's,
I know
I
that
mean, I'm
you
just being
might.
honest. I mean, because if we undermine and cut his feet out, say, we really shouldn't be doing that just to maybe appease a citizen. You've done put him in a bad position because he thinks he can get away with it. I'm just saying, if they call anybody, with City Hall, any of the utility workers, we all need to be on the same page and say, hey, look, that's the law. And everybody needs to abide by it, and there's no exceptions.
And the agreement, and the one we're talking about is the agreement, the neighbor said, well, I really don't care if it's like that, but they sell the house and the next person does,
Correct.
so you really can't do that either.
So that's not in the ordinance.
Now, what you do is you tell them if you want that fence to look pretty on your side, spend a little more money and make it look pretty on your side. Otherwise, you're gonna look at the back.
And they're not
side
gonna like it,
and
they're not gonna like it, I promise you they're not, but that's to protect the citizens around them, it's just plain and simple, so. Okay, any questions on the fence? So I think we got our,
On the, it's talking about amending the ordinance, for this, the only, suggestion that I have as far as the fence ordinance is, according to the ordinance, if you read the thing, chain link fences have to be green or black vinyl coated. That needs to be removed.
I think so. I did.
That's on
My
a
granddaughter.
cyclone fence, I believe, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
I think
needs to
that
be
is a
removed.
good thing to be looked at moving out. Yes.
okay, well, we can amend that ordinance to.
But that was some of that
Yeah.
that came in with the bunch.
We'll
you know?
we'll have to amend that muni code to reflect that.
I
And in the
agree with that.
meantime, well, let me ask you this,
But I'm good with the wooden fence.
Alderman Probst, in the meantime, do we want to give, basically, if we have anything between there and time we can get this thing amended, do we want to allow the regular chain link fence not to be coated with green and black? Y'all want to do that? Until we get it approved, I mean, to give more or less
Yeah.
an okay?
Yeah.
To do that for
You
the code
getting any of
enforcement?
those, Frank?
Sir,
You getting any of those? I know my granddaughter had one.
We
Thank
had
goodness it was
one.
black, because
we had one and it looks real pretty. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a good looking fence.
Yeah.
I think it was black.
black.
Yeah, it looks good.
I don't have a problem, but again, I think we need to get busy and change it.
Okay, all right, we'll do that. We'll just, frankly, let's enforce it like it is and try to get to that
Yes,
point
sir.
where we can endorse it.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have is the animals of a barnyard nature. I think Ricky spoke earlier during the public comment time about chickens. I think before the chickens were allowed, but I do want to, we do have a situation. I do want to see, I think Frankie's going to give us a play-by-play. I think we have a short video to play in this, something just Frankie recorded in the city limits of Vidalia.
This is on Elm Street. I made contact yesterday morning with a family that had a rooster in the cage. And this particular rooster here was out of the cage. I asked them, I left them a little door hanger that it's not allowed to have chicken in the city limits. And I asked them, well, this other chicken, which is the one here, was there? They said, no. I chased this chicken for 30 minutes trying to catch it. You ain't gonna catch it.
That's not a good thing, because I had two of them in my neighborhood one time.
And I did yesterday morning, left on the change machine in the office. If these people are tired of this
As you can see, the rooster's crowing at 2:05 PM, and I hear another one somewhere in the distance.
All right, all right, I think we got it.
But I did get a complaint on this area, and that's what put me in that area. Did find one in a cage. People got rid of it. Checked with them this morning. They got rid of this particular one, but this one I can't catch. So he just kind of at large, and this is the one that the people are complaining about. So
Yeah.
I ain't called out the animal control today to try to help him catch him, and he got it. So
All right. We'll see if we can,
I don't know why.
we'll try to get some help, Frank, get you a big net or something, I don't know.
I
How
don't
close
know.
can you get to him?
Okay.
How close can you get to him?
Sir?
How close can you
He's up
get?
in a tree. He's probably about high as the ceiling.
Okay.
We're gonna try to catch him with the catch pole, but he got nervous and he flew off and he was down behind, matter of fact, behind Mr. Ricky's house, running that.
Ricky, that's not your chicken, the right rooster.
That's what I was saying. Ricky doesn't let them chickens.
Ricky.
You sure that ain't Ricky?
Just because he's not in
All
the
right.
town.
Now, okay, in all seriousness, I think we're in agreement that does not need to belong in the city limits of Vidalia. Okay, for sure, a rooster. Now, the question comes back up, what about the laying hens for, it used to be a limit on the number of them you could have. So right now, I think when we redid our muni codes, I think we didn't allow for the barnyard animal because, and Ricky has a legitimate thing. Look, he wants to, if he wants to raise eggs, you might have somebody down the street. Well, look, I love goat milk. Let me have a few goats, so I can have, where do you draw the line? We do have to establish some things. And I'll be honest with you, barnyard animals stink. They do. I don't, what do y'all, I mean, what do y'all do to keep down the smell or?
Well, I plan on doing a compost and use it in the garden.
Fertilizer.
Mayor, I had the first case I had was, they had about 40 chickens. It was down in the trailer park, and you could smell them when you got out of the truck. They got rid of every one of them. And then I had one down the street that I think they finally got rid of theirs, but the 40 that I had, I don't know if you're gonna put a limit on it or what, but you could smell it when you got out of the truck.
All right, well, we have a community garden, we have a community coop somewhere outside the city limits. What's that now? Lime? I've heard that. What is the council's feelings on that as far as the laying hens? And again, y'all the legislative arm of the town, y'all make rules and laws.
And I'd like to see us
I
do
feel
something.
it's pretty safe to say nobody in here loves eggs more than me,
Yeah.
especially deviled eggs. But that's something I would really like to walk around the neighborhood and ask people, get their people.
I say leave it as is. That's just me.
I agree.
I mean, I don't really like it. I mean, if I had to make a decision, I'd probably say that.
Because if we let anybody start having chicken, we're gonna start getting goats, hogs,
I've had pigs in my
cows,
neighborhood.
whatever
too.
else. I mean, are we gonna open up our town to a farmyard, or are we gonna stick with the rules?
So what I'm hearing is y'all want to leave it as is?
As is. That's me.
Sir, I'm
Anybody
sorry.
feel
I say,
different?
that's me. I'm for staying as is, but everybody got to speak their own mind.
I make a motion,
Make a motion to,
keep it the way it is.
okay, we don't need to do a motion, we give them code enforcement a directive to enforce what's on the books now. Now, does this, let me be clear, does the Muni Code say anywhere in there that they're allowed right now?
No, sir.
It don't?
No,
'Cause
sir.
Rick, I
Well,
mean,
it don't particularly say chickens. It says animals are barnyard nature.
nature, okay.
No,
Because
excuse
Ricky-
me,
But it-
Mayor, it does
But it does
specify.
say
It
not
goes through
exclusive to.
chicken, swine, cattle, it
All of it.
excludes none of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say that back when Mr. Ricky was alderman, it was allowed. I think you were able to have 2 or 3 or 4 laying hens.
You were 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have 6 hens with no roosters.
I would say if it's not allowed now, Frankie's got to enforce the ordinance, but I'm not saying it's a dead issue. If you want to pursue and have the council taken under consideration to alter that or amend that, I think, they would listen to it if we have good arguments and good reasons to do that. Oh, I know you're not. And I think y'all got a considerable amount of money tied up in it as well. So,
All right. I was gonna say, right now, the only thing behind around the ordinance is for them to go before the Board of Adjustments.
well, that is an option. I mean, how does the council feel about that? How does council feel about if they want to see, go to the Board of Adjustment, see if they can
Mayor,
get a variance?
that's in the Muni codes already. They can.
They can?
Yes, they
Okay.
can, that's what I'm saying, they can do
Okay.
that.
And we'll put it on them. No, in all seriousness, Rick, if they don't approve it, I'm not saying I would turn me back on. If that's something you really want to have, I'd say, lobby to have a change made to where it is allowed. And I'm sorry, I'm very sorry.
I'd like to see us change
I
it.
only heard 2 no votes. I mean, if you're gonna vote on it.
I don't think we voted on it. I think we said that code enforcement would,
Enforce it as it is now.
enforce it as it is.
Any more questions, anybody? Okay, all right, let's move on. All right, the last thing we have is Mr. Von Manchester's requested a council hearing, and I'm gonna ask him if he'll come up to the front and present what he has. And, earlier we talked about 3 minutes, but I'm gonna extend that to 5.
Don't start yet, because I have a question about the fencing a while ago I heard, and I raised my hand and I guess you didn't see me, but Tommy had said, I heard him say something about on the easements, the fences on the easements. What is the rules to do with that? Because when I did my house and built my fence, I met twice with the city people down at the, I don't know what you call that. It's down by the old junior high, but on the other side of the road. And I never could get a straight answer on where to put my fence. I mean, they just flat wouldn't tell me. I mean, I said, look, I'm going up with the fence. I just want to know where to put it.
Okay.
Because the fence, I had a cyclone fence. And when I pulled it up, it was like from here to the, say, Tommy from the light pole. But all the other, when you look down the ditch, everybody else had the fences way out, you know, so I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to have to tear it down. And they never would. Finally, they said, put it anywhere you want to up to the pole. And I know that was on the easement, and I didn't do that. I backed up about 6 foot from the pole and put it, but you know, when he said easement, well, I was just wondering if y'all had rules now or how you go about finding out where to put your fence.
That's a good question. I have to agree with him on that.
You're not
Because
supposed-
that's happening
It's in
also.
there.
Well, people, it's in there, but most people go ahead and build it out. Even my fence is
That's
built.
where we've had a problem throughout the whole history of this town.
But what people have to understand, if you've got to go into that easement
It's
and
coming
you tear
down.
it and you take it down, you're not any obligation to fix it, put it back. If they come, if Cornell and them need to come in my
That's
backyard.
not, well, I'm not talking about that.
I know,
not
but
on
I'm
the
just
issue.
saying, that's a
Okay,
danger of
okay.
putting it over the
Yeah.
easement.
Okay.
Because if they got to come in with a bucket truck to work on restore power to citizens,
Yeah.
they're gonna tear that fence down. They're
Well,
not,
that's why I did, that's why I wanted to make sure before
Yeah.
I put the fence up.
Yeah.
But it was like a catch-22 with them because, you know, they want you to put it the further out on the easement because that's less that they had to mow back then.
Yeah.
But, you know, the further, you know, so they don't tell you that, but that's really the kind of the way it was. They don't say, put it way back there off the easement because then they got twice as much to mow, you know, so. It was like a catch-22 on it. I never did get to the bottom of it, you know, but I did back up a lot further, like 6 or 8 foot further than every other fence down the road, you know.
okay. All right, let's get to the matter at hand. Let's go
So
ahead and get
what
started.
was the answer to that question? Just no way to find out where to put it?
Well, yeah, well, just, you need to get a locate done. Let them tell you where the locates are and where the line is, where the easement runs.
That's where you get the
That's
permit.
what I was
That's why-
saying. They
That's
would
why-
never, I
that's why
never
you get
could
the
get a
permit.
straight answer on it. but-
That's why you get the permit. They come and do a locate.
Okay, well, some fence is gonna come up here in a minute too, you know. But I want to start off by saying, I'm not down here trying to dog out any employees with the city. I was mad at first when my fence got cut down. And because it looked like a war zone. And, you know, I hadn't posted pictures of it. After I went and met the city guys and everybody I've met through this process that I've went through, that y'all gonna learn about in just a minute, have been very, very nice and they've been helpful. And, you know, I appreciate that because, you know, I've run crews of men. I've been in construction on and off my whole life. I know how it is. You get hot, you're out there. People make bad calls sometimes, you know, and they try to kind of cover it up a little bit and then it comes back and bites them. So, but I know this much. The guys that I've met, if they got removed from their positions, I would bet the farm on the fact that they couldn't be replaced. Whoever replaced them would probably be about half as good as they are. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to come across like I'm trying to get anybody in trouble. But anyway, I got a timeline right here. And this has took weeks to put together. This took a couple years to figure out. On 8/14/18, my power went off of my house. The house was a complete rebuild. State Farm had the insurance. They wouldn't even insure it as a used house. They insured it as a brand new house because everything was brand new, except for the 2x4s, because I changed the siding, the insulation, everything was new. I lived in it less than 3 years and moved out, and so the house was new. It was just like brand new. I didn't go halfway. Everything in it's first class. When you walked in, the house is open for anybody to go see. Well, the power was off at 18. Everything was like new. I signed a lease agreement on 4/28/23. And I had vowed I wasn't going to rent the house out because I didn't want a renter to tear it up. But my dad was on his deathbed and my wife had got sick and we didn't have any income. So I signed a lease agreement. This lease agreement is in the utility office. You have to do that before you can turn the power on. So the power was off from 18 to 23. When the power come back on, all the water lines were busted. After we started, we was using the house for storage. Start moving stuff out, the floor's given. And so I had to pull up the laminated floor and realized it was wet underneath. Later, what happened was the main line come into the kitchen and then it veered and went to both ends of the house like a T. Well, it had broke there and the water was just trickling down. The reason they froze anyway was because the water valve was letting water through. Not like a big flow, just like a drip, 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 drip. You know what I mean? But over time, it filled the lines up. The lines all burst. So this drip, the lowest spot where it had broke was in the kitchen. The water runs down, goes under the laminated floor. I don't know if any of y'all's ever laid laminated flooring. It's got a cushion underneath it, so the water gets in under it. I went in the house some. We didn't go often. There were some things that went down with sexual abuse, and it was just it had some bad memories at the time. So we wasn't going in there a lot, but we'd go in a couple times a year, put something in, or the kids might go store something there. But we really never noticed that the floor was getting. I don't know when the meter started leaking. All I know is this. I paid Natchez Heating and Cooling for all new plumbing. Like I say, the house was new. It had new ducts run, new air conditioner. They did the whole 9 yards. I spent, I believe, it was like $19,000. But this is air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, the whole 9 yards. So the power was on for 17 days. The renter got mad. Said, I didn't know it had all these problems. I said, I didn't know it had no problems. I thought the house was ready to move into. I didn't know. They bailed. Now, the reason I say my dad was on his deathbed and my wife said, that's the only reason I was going to rent the house. So from 18 to 23, the meter had started leaking and letting through. Buzz has had some comments about, well, how do we know you didn't turn the water on? Because the damage is not indicative of that. It's got a brand new roof on it, all the sheetrock, no water damage nowhere but in the floor, and it only messed up like a 10-foot by 10-foot place around that sink. It would drip and run under and then just going under the house. Eventually it would seep through the wood. So it didn't spread out and get everything, just about that much. But I had to pull all the laminated flooring up. So I ended up having to change 3 floor joists and then put the hardwood flooring back. And then, of course, I didn't have the money to finish it. The people left. 17 days, the power was cut on. I had a lease agreement. I told Buzz, I said, I feel like that the city's responsible for the rent that I lost. Because the power was off then until 9/19/24. Oh, well, I'm skipping a big part. I'm not used to public speaking like y'all are, so I got my little note card here. Anyway, so they cut the power off after 17 days, and I reported to the city that the meter wouldn't shut off and that I had all this damage, and then I sent Buzz pictures on Facebook and a video or two explaining. And so 3 days later, I showed up, my back fence was cut down. 20 foot of gates right there, opened up, and the back fence cut down with a gate. I don't know why they would do it, 4 or 5 foot from where they was digging. I was pretty upset. And like I said, I sent some things to Buzz about it. But so I assumed that they changed the meter. And I would have bet my life on it. Because, hey, I just told the meter guy the other day, 4 days earlier about this water leak. These people cut the power off. And then we go over there and the yard's all dug up and the fence is down. I'm going to cut through the chase. After a lot of investigating, getting with Cornell, he was adamant about the fact that they didn't change the meter. Buzz was adamant about the fact I couldn't really prove that the meter was bad. Luckily for me, I guess, look, I don't know if anything to help so far, but anyway, we discovered, he proved to me, Cornell did, that they didn't change the meter because the meter number is on the bills and the meter number hadn't changed. So I told him, I told him, I said, hey, we can go over to the house, the meter's still bad. That explains why when I got the power turned back on a year later, when I got another lease agreement, water went everywhere again. I'm like, dang, but it was on my other end of the house. And I thought, well, maybe, I thought I had them all fixed. I thought, well, maybe I just never got it fixed enough because I've had to use wet set. It was water leaking out till it would pressure up on the entire house. But it did make sense. The house was flooded underneath, and I'm thinking, dang, the river ain't really that high, for the water table to be up. That water table's real high over there. But so anyway, it didn't make sense until I realized how adamant he was about the fact that meter hadn't been changed. So I thought, you know what? That's why it leaked again. And then I had a brand new Renai tankless water heater on the outside of the house that had froze and busted. But the only way I could size it up was I saying, I never got it fixed enough to pressure up on the other side of the house to even get to those leaks because there was so much damage on it, in that 17 days because I did the floor. But what it turned out to be was a coincidence. They just happened to go over there and change a main water valve at the same time, 3 days after I had reported the meter being bad. And I assumed they changed the meter. So that was just a misunderstanding. So that gets us to right here. I signed a 6-month lease agreement with the renter with a $400 reduced rent, just so they could move in it. And because we didn't have any income, my wife, she was diagnosed in the final stages of congestive heart failure. And we didn't even have money for gas to go to doctor's appointments. We canceled so many appointments. It's ridiculous because we didn't have the gas money. When you get congestive heart failure like that, you get put on a life vest, you can't be left alone. You have to have somebody with you 24/7. Well, I can't afford nobody else to sit with her. I got to sit with her. But anyway, so, me and Buzz has discussed this. And, I've been adamant about it. Bud was, he got his head just about as hard as mine. You know what I mean? But he kept saying that there's no way that little drill could have caused that kind of damage. But the deal is that's the only thing that can cause that kind of damage because the floor had actually rotted. I mean, we don't do that overnight. You got to keep it wet a little while. I don't know when between 18 and 23 that meter started leaking, but it's the only way. And I was telling, I tried to get Buzz to come over there and look at it. Because like I said, when you walk in the house, you've got a brand new roof on the top, sheetrock, there's no water damage nowhere. It's only the floor. And it led right to the kitchen sink where that little drizzle was just coming out and it got in under that laminated floor. But when you tear your laminated flooring up, you can't snap it back down. I mean, you're looking at a lot of money. If you've got, 300 or 400 foot of it, $8, $9 a foot. I just nailed the laminated flooring back down with an air nail for this lady to move in 6 months ago. And then it didn't even cover all of it. But like I said, I knocked $400 off the rent. And so the main issue is the fact, really, that I've had to go through all these meetings. I've been to all these different departments getting this figured out, getting it proved that the fence was cut down. I don't want to beat on that dead dog. You know what I mean? These are good guys. I ain't out to get them.
Vaughn, I don't mean to stop you, but can you go, what are you asking? Go ahead, can you go?
Okay,
I'm giving you a lot of time. I'm giving you a lot of time to
file a
talk.
claim. Yeah, we need a procedure to file a claim. It's kind of hard to go through this, especially when it's as emotional, when you're as emotionally attached to it, so I'm trying to be fast, but the main thing is this. I have jumped through hoops all this time, all this, and it all boils back down to this. I didn't ask for it. I mean, my house was brand new. I go there, I get the power turned on, water goes there. It wasn't my fault. I'm not told, all the way through this, I've heard things like, told I should have had insurance. That's to imply that it's my fault that I don't have insurance to cover the city's behind on it, you know?
Okay.
I'm not obligated to have to do these things. This is the city's problem. I had nothing to do with it. I had a new house sitting there that's a separate entity from the utilities, and all this happened. The house is there. Everybody can investigate. You can tell Brent, I know he's an insurance guy. He can look up and see what the house was worth when the insurance come off of it. Any appraiser or insurance guy is going to go down there and look at it, and they're going to know that that's the only thing that could have happened because there's no damage nowhere else.
What are you asking the town to do? What are you
I
asking?
want the town to pay for the
And
the
how much?
rent that I missed. I'll give you the bill twice.
I've got,
It went up the second time.
he's asking,
After I
for-
got my proof, it went up a little bit.
he's asking for $23,319.50. $23,319.50. Now, I've let you go way longer than I would let anybody else do. You know,
You bet.
Now-
Oh, yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
now,
And
I'll
look,
let you
appreciate
talk. Now,
letting me speak.
now give me just a minute. Can I talk openly and candidly about your utility bill?
Sure.
On your past, present, everything involved in it? I
Whatever
can
you
do
want
that?
to do.
Okay, all right. First off, was this your dad's house, or was the utility in your dad's name when you first got it moved into the house?
Man, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
In
not sure.
2018, the utilities were in your dad's name. Now, that, if you were living in the house, you told me I can talk candidly about your account, okay?
Well, okay, only if it's relevant.
Well, this is.
Because, I mean, the relevance
Well,
is really, this is what you've done
No,
the whole time, Buzz.
Well, no,
Okay,
this is,
Okay.
okay, I'll let you talk.
Okay.
I feel like it's relevant because, okay, there was a very large balance done on that, and I saw somebody paid it. Now, whether it was you, because it was or your dad, it was paid. The power was cut for non-payment. This was in 2018,
Okay.
okay? It was cut. Okay, we have work orders that said after it was cut and a lock put on the meter, somebody at your residence, I'm not saying you did it, but somebody at your residence went and cut the meter and turned it back on with that and didn't meter and basically it
Well, if
says,
they told you that, they lied to you.
well, that's all I have to go by is what my employees who you bragged on and said they're the best of the best. This is in their report from 2018 that there was theft of utilities. Now, let me just
You're
go
saying
further.
that I cut a seal off of the
I didn't say
Okay.
you did. I said
I don't
somebody.
believe you can get nobody to say that. I believe that's-
Well, somebody there did. Now, here's
But
the,
where is the relevance to this?
okay,
That's what
I'm fixing
trying
to get the relevance. I mean,
Okay,
to,
Okay, well, come on with it.
okay. Now, in 2000, here's the funny, evidently, when that was happened, they went and disconnected it from the house and rolled it up on the pole. They completely took the wire off the house, so it couldn't be turned on anymore. Evidently, somebody called me, and why I had a bleeding heart for you, Vaughn, turn that power back on and turn your electricity back on. I think you might have paid $50 for a reconnect fee. And from that time that you went in that house in March to August of that year, you did not pay one dime on your utility bill. And it
Well,
was cut again, and now.
Hey, if
now-
you, and
now-
wait
now
up,
here's-
now, okay,
now
go
here-
ahead.
here-
I don't understand
Now,
the
Dustin,
relevance of that with a
I'm-
leaking meter.
Okay, I'm fixing to show you. Dustin, could you pull up that on, I'm not coming down here to get with you, but I want to show the council. Go down to the bottom of this. Okay, you said you agree the water meter was not faulty, it was a good water meter, there's nothing to do with it. You know, you came to see me several times.
No, wait a minute. I said that the water meter wasn't faulty when I had all the plumbing done.
Okay, all right, this is his last bill. If you'll see here, here's his water bill, and this is a good meter. His reading on it, when we disconnect somebody, we get a reading on it, and then when we reconnect that, we go get a reading as well, our meter reading. This was a reading on the water meter in September 2018 when it was disconnected again. This is what his last bill showed. That was the reading on his meter. The pay said, the renter he talked about went in there for just not even a month. Scroll down, Doctor, keep it set, no, wait, go back up.
No, the renter never moved in.
Okay, well, okay,
We never got it all finished.
They turned on the electricity, I mean, it turned on the bill.
They turned on the utilities, but I mean, they never got to move in.
So this was a reading on the meter with Mr. Manchester checked out. See, the starting reading meter, that number up there, 11,256, is the exact same number in that meter. That's what he restarted.
So you're saying that the meter's actually reading how much water was going through it when it was leaking?
Okay, here's 11,321. The citizen, or whether it was you or a citizen went in there, the reading on that was 11,321 was their present reading that contract out. That was the last reading on the meter. 11,321. That was your first minute. Okay? All right, 11,321. Keep that in mind. Now scroll down to the next minute. This is what he turned on. 10/16, when we checked it, 11,321. No measurable amount of water went through that meter. I'm sorry, whether it was turned off.
Okay, well, look, the meter was turned off days ago. I went by there today. It's still running. The faucets are still running. I mean, there's no way you can slice it or dice it. There's no way that it could sustain the damage. And you've implied, let me tell you what I've had to hear things like, how could I be sure the meter went bad on its own? I mean, to imply that I could make a meter go bad.
Okay.
This is the things that I've listened to all the way through this from him. And he has absolutely no construction knowledge at all, because he said that there's no way you can get that kind of damage from a drizzle. But hey, I don't know, how many gallons do you think it takes to keep a floor wet for a year and a half? Damn. I mean, it drip, drip, drip. How many gallons is that going to equate to? It's still leaking now. Buzz, you said I could never. This is the problem. He said in the beginning, the first time I met him, the first meeting we had, he said, the city will pay, but only after a thorough investigation. Then, on the fourth meeting we had, he says, he had concluded his investigation. He had talked to his guys. They didn't cut the fence. They didn't change the meter. And furthermore, I could never convince him that the meter was, that his guys cut my fence down. He said, Vaughn, he looked me in the eye and called me a liar. You could never convince me that my guy, look, I got the, if you want the transcripts, or we can have the next meeting, I'll just bring the recordings.
I'd love to. I never called you a liar, but what I said was our people never took your fence down to put a water meter in. That's what I said.
No. Look, I've listened to it 100 times.
All right, now listen to me. You can come back and play it. If I called you a liar, I'm sorry, but I don't think I did. I told you that our city and workers did not tear your fence down to replace a meter.
Said,
now later, and you,
I'm looking in your eyeballs, and I'm telling you that they cut my fence down. You said, Vaughn,
council has something to say.
Mr. Manchester, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said there was 2023 when you first discovered the damage?
Well, I mean, that's whenever the damage became evident, when the water went everywhere.
It became evident to who?
When they turned the power on meters.
Now, who found the damage? In 2023, that was you?
No, I had rented it, and the renter had the power turned on.
So when did you become aware of the damage?
But I mean, it didn't just, snap automatically. No, after I started working on the water lines, I couldn't get it to stop.
I'm trying to find out,
and that's when
when did you find out there was damage to your property?
21st to 23.
Will you have a date in 2023?
Well, yeah. At 5/10/23.
5/10/23.
And then
22 months ago?
Yeah. And then on 9/19, now I did make Buzz aware of it. See, there's no procedures. That's what I'm up here for. So because we need procedures to file a claim. You call City Hall, they say just you gotta get with Buzz. You know, I mean, now.
But the day you discovered the damage was 5/10 of 2000.
That was the first damage. It was done twice.
What was the other damage?
When they turned the power back on. See, the power was on for 17 days at that time. The power went off. I thought they changed the meter because they WR'd the thing. Power goes off until I find another meter. On 9/19 of 24, I signed another lease. It's a 6-month lease, which was about 6.5 months ago. I said, I rented it to her for $400 less because of the damage in the house.
The damage you
When they turned
discovered.
the power on, water went everywhere at the other end of the house. Not the same, I don't know why I did it, but the line slowly filled up again and burst again. Now, I'm thinking, what the heck? You know, I mean, because I had fought this the time before, and then they come cut the fence down, dug the yard up, I thought the meter was changed. But, like I said, I didn't know this at the time, but I found out later. I was convinced that the meter hadn't been changed. And I told Cornell, now he was right, and I apologized. Did I apologize? I said, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize, and I was, and I apologized. And I told him, I said, but I bet you this. I bet you the meter's bad. If you didn't change it then, it's bad. And he said, no. I said, okay, well, let's go see. And he calls the supervisor and said, I want you to meet Mr. Manchester down there. Don't get out of your truck till he gets there. He wanted us to go back there together. So I met the guy over there. We went back there, turned the water off. He did just like I had did prior. He turned it this way, that way, you know, back and forth, trying to hit that just right spot. Can't get it off.
I think you missed my point. My point is, and the question is, when did you first discover you had damage to your?
I told you when that was,
May
Brad.
10, 2023?
Yeah.
Okay, that
The
answers my
first
question.
damage. They did it again 6 months ago. Which makes it kind of the whole.
It makes
I
it
mean, if you're
it
looking
makes it
from a legal
prescribed.
standpoint, now me and Buzz talked about this. Is this from a legal standpoint or a right and wrong standpoint? Because see, this, let me just show y'all just how vital this is to me. My net worth is what this house is worth. And the city, I took about a 20% hit on my net worth over this leaking meter. If the city took a 20% hit, which would be about $20 million, how important would it be to y'all? I mean, just looking at my little case, that's nothing. It means nothing to y'all. You know what I mean? But it means everything to me. If you do the same proportion, it would be a $20 million hit against the city.
I'm gonna ask council, they want to hear anymore? Or do y'all?
My question is the meter that was supposedly leaking still in place?
It's still in place and still leaking. I went by there on my way
So
here.
do we know if it's leaking? I mean, is there a way to tell? Is there?
Yeah,
a way
they
to
got it
tell?
shut off and it's running out of the faucet.
Running, or you said a drill?
Dripping, moving, water? Is there water
Whatever, it
moving?
won't shut off. It's whatever you want to call that, a drizzle. I don't know.
So has that been looked at? That's what I'm asking.
No, it hadn't been fixed.
No, I'm saying, has it been looked at? Have
Oh,
we
yeah, they
looked at that?
verified it. They come meet, I met the guy, Cornell called the supervisor, John Brixey, told him, don't get out of the truck, don't go back there, because he was scared I'd say that they had done something to it. I already knew it was gonna be bad.
So is it possible, Cornell, you in charge of that, is it possible that meter is moving water without showing? I mean, that's my question, if the meter's still there, it's pretty much easy to find out if there's water coming through to that house, if it's shut off. That's my point.
You know, the thing is with that meter, you know, ain't nothing wrong with the meter. Okay, even if that valve is leaking, that valve is the service for us, you know, to do maintenance on our meter, not for the customer. You know, the customer has the responsibility to have a valve on their side.
Okay, so there's not a valve.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, like I said, that's anywhere.
Again, I got to cover
Anywhere.
cities and states.
Anywhere in any municipality, whether it's Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, the valve is the valve for us to do maintenance, you know, on the meter. The town do not bear any responsibility when it comes past that point.
Okay. That, I mean, I didn't know that. I
Right.
mean, so there should be a valve when I go out and cut my water off, that's your valve.
That's our valve.
So I'd have to put another valve in there to cut my water off. See, I didn't know that.
That's your responsibility.
I didn't know.
Anything after this, anything after, you know, that meter, it is your responsibility
Right.
to protect yourself.
On the other
Right.
side of that. Yeah.
Exactly. And May 10th is when he discovered that leak at his house. May 12th is when we had that water leak in that backyard. You know, that's when we came and fixed that water leak. May 12th of 2023.
But that was our water,
On our
not
side.
his.
On our side.
Yeah.
So,
But look, I know this much. You can look on your phone what happens if your house gets flooded because the meters leak on, you know, and it says you go down to your city hall and you fill out a form and file a insurance claim. And whatever he just said, show it to me in the law books. I mean, the house and the electricity is a separate entity, okay? You control that water. You cut that water off and then you decide you're gonna turn it back on and flood the house, that is on you. You're responsible for that. I'm not inviting that water in. When that power goes off, that's on you to keep it out. And I'm gonna tell you one other thing. There's no way a meter can read a drip. There's no way that meter is gonna change. It's too slow. It can't turn the counter in it when it's dripping. That meter won't change. But, I mean, that's impossible. Just think about that for a second. How could a meter have a turning thing that's gonna turn from a drip, drip, drip? It's not. It can have that much flow by. It's not gonna work, period.
okay, I'm gonna ask council to, you know, if it's a drip, we all have a water hose that's dripping. You can put your finger over and hold that water hose as long as you want to. But if you turn the water hose on, it ain't gonna hold it back. So if there's no pressure behind that hose, there's not gonna be any kind of volume of water go through it. But anyway, what does the council want to do? I mean, y'all, from the get-go, I told Mr. Manchester, I said, if you want me to write you a check, I can't. I don't have the authority to just write you a check. You're going to have to prove that the town, you're going to have to prove that the town was liable, that we have the liability for your problems. And I'm sorry, that's the way it is. The insurance company doesn't have the people.
Can I say, add something to this real quick?
Let me finish. Let me finish. I said, the insurance company, Bo is our agent. They don't take calls from residents to go out there and investigate any claim. The claim comes about if the town is sued and there's a case brought and they investigate it. People go out and investigate all of it. They investigate all the records and they make a determination. And if the town loses, then we go to the insurance company. But only that, the insurance company will get in and litigate it with us to, you know, to come up with a resolution. And that's where we're at.
Okay, so this is your procedure, is that you investigate. You do. I mean, you called me back to City Hall 4 times.
I
If
didn't
you
call
would
you
have told
back.
me that from the get-go, I would have never went back.
I didn't call you back, boss.
You said, give me 2 days. I went back. You said, come back in the middle of next week. I come back in the middle of next week. And that's when you close the investigation because you talked to your guy and you said they didn't cut my fence down. And that there's no way that I could convince you they cut my fence down.
To change a meter, I did say that. You're right.
Yeah, you
To change
did
the
say
meter.
that.
But you remember the first time you came in, what did you tell me? The first
But
time
then
you
you
came in?
didn't. Now you said that, and you said I can write you a check. Now let me finish here because I got the audio. You can write me a check, but only after you do a thorough investigation. Though after I jump through hoops and go to 14 different meetings in offices, then I proved my case. They cut the fence down. They admitted it. I called you expecting an apology for calling me a liar. The meter was bad too.
I didn't call you a liar.
You know what he said? Well, oh, you did? You said I could never convince you they cut my fence down, and I just told you
Change
that
the
they
meter.
did.
That's exactly what I
That's
told you.
calling me a lie, you know? I mean, any way you want to slice it or dice it, bud.
Okay, all right.
You don't think that's calling a lie? I mean, does
I
anybody?
just told, all I
You
said,
sit there,
all I
It
said,
don't matter how nice you say it.
okay.
You know what I mean? You call somebody a lie, you call them a lie.
I didn't call
can
you.
do it with, while you're smiling. And then
I
you change
said that there's no way our town cut your fence down to change a meter, which that was your story at that time. The first time you came in, you said a bush hog went there, run over your fence and ran over the meter. You said that the first
They
time.
did. They did. I mean, I believe that's why the valve.
Then the
went to leak.
second time you came in, you said that the town changed your water valve, came in with an excavator, knocked your fence down, reached down with the excavator, ripped the water service
I've
up.
listened to this. You're just making things up.
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
you told me that you said, I told you that I wrote you on Facebook. When I first come in, you said, I keep up with you, man.
We
I've
gotta
been over
stop
on your
this at some
Facebook.
point.
I've watched
We
some
got
of
to
your
stop
rant. I've
this at
listened
some
to some of your
We got
rants.
to stop this at some
Yeah, okay. All right. Any question from the alderman, or do they want to take any action on it other than doing what I said in the first place, that he's going to have to seek legal counsel to prove the town had liability? Does anybody feel different than that?
No.
Still, nobody has even went and assessed the damage. And I'm sorry, one last word and I'm gone, okay? You're supposed to do an investigation like you had told me you was gonna do. You just admitted to that. Then I have to do an investigation, and then you tell me you gotta sue. So then I sue, and guess what happens? After I win a lawsuit, the insurance company's gonna do an investigation. They're not gonna take nobody's word for it. These guys is trained for that. You ain't gonna pull the wool over their eyes. There's no sense in all this going down. All you have to do is file a claim. Let the insurance companies make their money. Let them get to the bottom of it. They can figure it out. I mean, they're trained to do that. I appreciate y'all's time anyway.
All right. Do I hear a motion we adjourn?
I make that
Motion
motion.
made by Alderman McCoy. Here, second?
Section.
Second by Alderman Betts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank y'all very much.